So a relationship ends. And after that initial gut punch, what's our first instinct? It's almost always to look outward, right? We start pointing fingers, we break down everything they did wrong, and we build this whole story around how it was all on them. But what if the key to actually breaking that cycle isn't out there at all? What if it's in here?
And that usually leads us to ask this one giant question. It's the one that can just echo in your head for months, sometimes even years. Why does this keep happening? It's a heavy question, for sure. But if we ever want to see a different result, we have to be willing to find a real answer. So, okay, let's get into it. When you're staring that question in the face, you've really got two roads you can go down. The first one is the easy answer. It's their fault. It was the toxic ex, the commitment phobe, you name it. And look, that answer might feel good for a hot minute, but it leaves you with zero power. Then there's the real answer. It's a little tougher to swallow, yeah, but it's where all of your power is just waiting for you to claim it. Okay, hang with me here because this one can sting a little at first, but this is not about blaming yourself. It's about a simple, powerful truth. You are the one common denominator in every single one of your relationships. Your choices, your patterns, your beliefs, they're all part of the equation. And honestly, this is the best news you could possibly get, because if you're part of the problem, it means you're also the key to the solution. This leads us right into our first big idea. The incredible power you unlock when you make one simple but profound shift, when you move away from blame and step into real freedom. I mean, just look at the difference here. Blame is all about pointing outward. It's basically saying, my happiness is in your hands, which keeps you completely stuck. But responsibility, that looks inward. It says, wait a minute, I hold the key here. And that, right there, is the starting line for any real lasting change. And let's be super clear about what we mean by responsibility. This is not about fault. It's not about beating yourself up. It's about ownership. It's literally your ability to respond to your life. It's having the power to look at a situation and ask, okay, what can I learn from this? What can I do differently? So here's the game changer, the actual mental flip you need to make. You stop asking the victim question, why did they do this to me? And you start asking the power question, what is this trying to show me? And when you do that, suddenly every heartbreak becomes your greatest teacher. It might show you a boundary you let slide, a huge red flag you chose to ignore, or some old belief you have that's telling you that you have to settle for less. The pain actually starts to serve a purpose. All right, so once you start learning from your experiences instead of just being a victim of them, what's next? Well, you have to build a new foundation to stand on. And that brings us to our second big truth, which is all about what it really means to love yourself. You know, when we hear self-love, our minds usually jump to the fluffy stuff, right? Bubble baths, spa days, being nice to ourselves. And hey, that stuff is great. But real, life-changing self-love is tougher than that. It's got two sides. It's not just gentleness, it's also grit. It's this powerful mix of deep compassion for yourself blended with radical accountability. So what does that actually look like day to day? It means talking to yourself like you're your own most loyal friend. But it also means you hold yourself to a higher standard than anyone else does. It means you have the guts to call yourself out when you know you're messing up. And maybe, most important of all, it means you actually follow through on the promises you make to yourself. And here's what happens when you do that. When you can be both kind and honest with yourself, you build something that is so rare and so powerful, unshakable self-trust. You stop needing someone else to validate you because you've already got it handled. That trust becomes the very ground you walk on. Okay, so you've built this internal trust. Now what? Does it just stay inside you? Absolutely not. And that brings us to our final and maybe the most mind-blowing truth of all. This internal work completely changes how the external world responds to you. This right here, this is one of the truest things you will ever hear about relationships. Your relationship with yourself is like a silent instruction manual you hand to everyone you meet. It's not about the standards you say you have, it's about the standards you live by and how you treat yourself. And it just makes sense, right? Think about it. If you are constantly tearing yourself down in your own head, why would it feel so shocking when a partner does it? If you're always betraying your own boundaries to make other people happy, you're basically broadcasting to the world that your boundaries are up for negotiation. Your outer world will always be a mirror of your inner one. So let's put it all together. What happens when you actually do this stuff? When you take responsibility, when you learn to have your own back, and when you raise the standard for how you treat yourself? Well, you don't just find a better relationship. You literally start writing a brand new story for your entire life. It all kicks off right here. It's not about making a list of demands for other people. It starts with demanding more from yourself, more kindness, more honesty, more integrity.
And then something almost magical starts to happen. All the people who kind of benefited from your old, lower standards, the ones who liked that you didn't have strong boundaries or that you needed their approval, suddenly they start to feel pretty uncomfortable. The dynamic just doesn't work for them anymore, and they begin to drift away.
Now, this is so important to understand. When those people leave, it can feel like a loss, but it's not a loss. It's alignment. It's your life clearing out everything that no longer matches the person you're becoming. It's making space for what's next.
Because that space you've created, it's not going to stay empty. You become a magnet for people who operate on that same higher level. The right people, the ones who value respect and celebrate your strength, they won't just be attracted to you. They'll finally be able to see you and meet you where you are. So when it's all said and done, everything boils down to this one question. Do you really, truly have your own back? Because until the answer to that is a rock-solid yes, no other person, no relationship can ever fill that space for you. The real work and the greatest love story you'll ever have always starts with you.